Attack on Titan Chapter 120 really should have been titled Daddy Issues, featuring Zeke Yeager. So what's up guys, Foxen here. So, is Eren actually going to be able to escape the Titan realm? Which of the Yeager brothers is actually in control? And what exactly is up with the Ymir Loli? So let's get into it. Go ahead and give a colossal thumbs up and subscribe. Make sure to ring that bell and let's get started. First thing up, did Isayama actually create an Attack on Titan alternate universe? Has Attack on Titan Chapter 120 confirmed that? So within all those memory fragments from Eren, Kruger, and Papa Yeager, you got this very small one at the very end. Oh yes, that is definitely Goth Mikasa and Hipster Armin. So what do you think? And I really want to know. Is this really just a fun Easter egg by Isayama? Is the guy trolling? Or is Isayama dropping some hint at something bigger coming? You should notice this is actually different from the Attack on Titan high school manga. This Dark Mikasa and Hipster Armin are actually from the fake preview for the Attack on Titan volumes. By the way, definitely let me know how you feel down below. Next up, something I forgot to mention. So when the two Yeager brothers were going down memory lane, oh, what is that? Look at the baby Eren right here. This little guy definitely noticed these two. So the question is, who else can actually see them? Papa Yeager definitely noticed Zeke in that previous scene. So could it be that Titan shifters, whether present, past, or future, they're all connected, hence they could see each other? It'd be really interesting if these guys run into some warriors, or how about even Armin? Is this really just a memory, or are they actually affecting past events? In other words, Isayama actually going the time travel route. And talk about this whole Titan realm, the question does come up. Who is actually in control? The latest chapter was pretty much the Yeager brothers going back and forth. No, I tricked you. Oh no, I was just playing along. I was testing you. It was me all along. However, at the very end, was this actually hinting at Eren actually being the one in control? Ironically, it seems like Zeke Yeager has been the one that's been the most emotionally affected by these memories. Oh, that is so awesome. But back to the main topic. At the very end, you have Eren saying next. Let's get on with it. Next scene. In other words, it almost seems like Eren is actually the one in control now. Perhaps Zeke started it, but the one that's taking the steering wheel is now Eren Yeager. How awesome would that be? If Eren's the one in control, that actually brings up a few questions. The first important one, could Zeke actually take control back? And two, if Eren is actually in control, why doesn't the guy just end this whole game? So back in Attack on Titan Season 3, you have Zeke claiming that he wanted to save Eren. Could the tables have flipped now, that now Eren wants to save Zeke? Although, the guy really only has a few months left. If that's the case, Eren definitely better be careful. He's walking this fine line, he could definitely get burnt. We've all talked about Eren potentially eventually dying by the end of the series. Wouldn't it be so tragic if Eren actually passes away by saving Zeke of all people? And then switching it back to Zeke. Zeke supposedly claimed to be in control of the founding Titan power, so why is he going through all of this trouble? Does he really still want to truly save Eren? Or is there another possibility? Really going back to that question about who exactly is in control. You could have the situation where Zeke may be in control of the Titan realm for now, but on the outside, the guy still wouldn't be able to actually use the founding Titan powers. In other words, he still needs to convince Eren to be on his side, because Eren is the one in control, at least on the outside. So yes, there's so many questions about who exactly is in control of the Titan realm and in control of the founding Titan powers, inside or outside. Definitely post your thoughts down below. Let me now actually bring the Ymir girl into the equation. I have been wondering, is there a possibility that Eren has already been here? This would actually involve Historia. So yes, Historia right now is the only other royal blood person in the current world that we know of. You've seen in the past that Historia has been able to access some type of Titan memories. And yes, so far in the Attack on Titan Historia, it's been drilled into you that it must be a royal blood Titan person. Historia right now would only meet half of that requirement. But what if Eren was able to access the Titan realm, but with limited access? In other words, some restrictions. Combine that with the fact that Eren previously had two of the Titan powers, one of the most necessary ones, of course being the founding Titan. If you actually think back, you had Ymir and even Zeke most recently coming into the Titan realm without contact to the founding Titan. I don't think it'd be out of the question if Eren somehow throughout the time skip did something with Historia to access this realm. Or how about this second quick Titan theory? Recall what happened most recently. Eren gained the Warhammer Titan power. You had that moment of Eren seeing the light. What if in that instance he actually got access to the Titan realm? You know, after that moment it seemed like Eren went through this whole changeover. What if it happened because of that? I'm actually starting to buy this second possibility even more. Anyway, I'll leave you to wonder about that and definitely post your thoughts down below. Next up, let me quickly bring up the Attack on Titan Chapter 119 inconsistencies. So in the latest monthly magazine where Attack on Titan is released, they actually did include the previous chapter 119. So I've been getting some questions about this. Has anything been redrawn? So I'll just mention, quickly looking over some of the key inconsistencies, nothing has been redrawn. There was also nothing in this magazine from Isayama regarding any of that stuff. Although to be fair, let me also mention I didn't expect anything to be redrawn until the official volume is released, which should be in a few months. At that time, we'll see if Isayama does any corrections. Next up, getting back to the Jaeger brothers going down memory lane. So now with this Titan Realm, it seems like these brothers could go back and visit almost any memory. You already saw them visiting some key moments. As a consequence of this, a lot of you guys have been going back to the previous chapters or previous anime scenes and actually looking for any of the Jaeger brothers in the background. And I've been getting so many questions about two particular scenes, so let me bring them up. The first is actually a scene from Attack on Titan Chapter 12. Notice this scene, it should look very familiar. So in the background you see two sets of shadows. So oh my god. Hey Zeke and Eren, is that you? Could Isayama have been planning this from the very start? That must be the two Jaeger brothers. It could be Zeke showing Eren the first time he gave Mikasa that scar, or Eren showing off his Titan to his Oni-chan. Then the second scene a lot of you guys are asking about. After Eren's mom got made into Titan lunch by the Dyna Titan, you had young Eren, Mikasa, and Armin in this refugee camp. After these guys got some of that yummy free bread, they went back to that hallway. Oh, but what is that in that corner in the back? Oh my god, could that be Bum Eren? In other words, time traveling bros for the win. But hold up, is there any truth to this? Let's go ahead and examine both scenes further. First off, the two shadows in the Trost arc. This was actually on the final page of chapter 12. So technically this chapter made Attack on Titan 1 year old. Keep in mind this was actually back when Isayama was just hoping Attack on Titan would not get freaking cancelled. Besides, if you actually look at the two shadows, then compare it to the stuff right above. Oh, what do you know? They look exactly the same. On top of this, I should also mention this particular scene was in the anime, but naturally this background stuff got changed or wasn't even included in the shot. Then for the second scene with that mysterious guy in the back, this whole scene actually wasn't in the manga, so it was anime original. But I know what you're thinking. Couldn't Isayama have told the Wit Studio to add this into the anime? Keep in mind, back when this episode of Attack on Titan Season 1 dropped, the manga was barely getting into the Armor Titan versus Attack Titan Round 1. In other words, the stuff from Season 2. This would have been around the time that Isayama hoped to end Attack on Titan by chapter 90, maybe 80. Which most likely he was still going to go with the original ending of having almost everyone dying. In other words, there wouldn't have been any of this Titan Realm stuff, and not even a post-time skip. At least not how you currently know it. So, does it mean the two Jaeger brothers won't be in those two previous scenes? Not necessarily. Isayama is actually free to put these two guys in almost any past scene. He would just have to put the Jaeger brothers in different spots. But let's be real, do any of you really want to see Eren or Zeke in those two scenes? I still believe this Titan Realm stuff could continue for a few chapters, but there's so many better ones they could visit. And definitely post down the past memories you want to see below. How about some more of Grisha? Definitely some Kruger scenes. Definitely stuff before. Maybe even the day that Kruger gave Papa Jaeger his mission. How about the day that Grisha got his sister Faye killed? That would definitely affect Zeke. And not to mention Eren seeing that again. Next up, let me bring up that memory shard panel scene. Right here, you do have young Mikasa, that scene being the biggest. I've seen some of you trying to claim that this is the biggest, just showing how much Eren cares about Mikasa. Some of you guys hoping it's in a love type of way. And while I don't necessarily doubt this, but how about Armin? In comparison, that's kinda small. Keep in mind, this was one of the shots that kicked off the whole series back in chapter 1. So it could be that importance, either or a combo. I think a lot of you are missing something else important. Clearly this beginning shot is still on the top of Isayama's mind, which is why it wouldn't be surprising at all if it was covered in the next chapter or two. Next up, let me bring up that tree, Yggdrasil. So I mentioned in my past chapter review video how Isayama has been inspired by Norse mythology. Although I should know two things. One, this isn't the only thing influencing his writing. And two, Isayama hasn't exactly been using things from Norse mythology one-to-one. A good example in the anime are the 9 Titans. In Norse mythology, they were the 9 realms. So clearly not the same application. I should also mention, I have been dipping my toes in Norse mythology stuff since the start of this year. So maybe I'll do a video talking about some of the references, parallels, or influences for Attack on Titan. Let me ask you, would you like to see that video? Definitely post below. Anyway, going back to Eren and Zeke, this time a different thing regarding the Titan Realm. At the start of this, Zeke claimed that they were seeing past memories. The question is, are they actually seeing past memories, or are they actually going into the past itself? For me, I'm personally wanting this to be an actual memory. I'm still hoping that Isayama stays away from this time travel stuff. As to why I'm leaning towards this being a memory, you actually see the panel tilted when both of these guys touch heads. Then that Titan lightning. In the past, that Titan lightning has been connected to some memory Titan power. You see when Frida was using her mind wipe on young Historia, and when Eren touched Historia's hand at the end of Attack on Titan Season 3. That said, this doesn't discount the possibility of some memory or message accidentally or intentionally being sent into the past or future as a consequence of using the founding Titan power, which I think might be the case. There still is that message 2,000 years into the future. Could the Jaeger brothers actually discover what that memory was? But let me toss it over to you. Do you mind if Isayama actually goes a time travel route? Should he just stick with memories? I think right now everyone has a very good example of the whole time travel thing in Avengers. And as much as I freaking love that movie, that did create a lot of plot holes. I mean, you had the Avengers director soon after the movie came out doing some damage control over that. Next up, let me quickly talk about this Attack on Titan book that just came out. The newest volume of Attack on Titan just came out here this week in Japan. Packaged with this volume included this short story Attack on Titan book. This includes 20 short stories. Most of them are like a page or two long. So let me just quickly go down the list of characters included. You got Erwin's letter, Eren's note, something from Pastor Nick, Coney, Horseboy, Nifa, Sasha, Bert, Keith, Hanji, Reiner, Ymir, the Scout, some random Scout, Historia, Marco, his stuff was half length, Annie, Uri, Reyes, Levi, Armin, Mike, Rico, Frida Reyes, and Mikasa. Notably, it didn't include some important characters like Grisha Jaeger, Kenny Ackerman, Zeke Jaeger, Eren Kruger, and so on. So far I've really only skimmed through some of these and read 2, that includes Levi and Mikasa. The one for Mikasa is actually called Mikasa's Recipe. It's really just her cooking something. And then for Levi, that's the story of Levi perfecting his signature. And I have to mention, I know I've read this before. In other words, I have a feeling that maybe half of these stories may have already been published in some medium or another in the past. Also, skimming through some of these stories, it seems like they take place in Season 1 or earlier. Anyway, I'll leave you with that. If I find something juicy, I'll mention it next video. Next up, when is Attack on Titan ending? And I know, but I keep on getting this question daily. Between the last prediction video and this one, there's actually been another radio interview with the Attack on Titan editor. The guy pretty much said the same thing that Isayama said in the past interview. So let me just quickly say that I still put Attack on Titan ending in the 1 year to 2 year mark. Right now, it really doesn't feel like Isayama's rushing towards the end. I mean, if this whole Titan Realm thing takes like a few chapters, I think that pretty much confirms that Isayama's taking his time. Then this other little thing from me that I see pretty often, which is the general question of why don't you do this type of video or this Attack on Titan video. So here's some inside baseball stuff. To produce all the content I do, I'm working about 60 to 80 hours plus a week. So if any of you guys work a full-time job, just double that. And yes, a lot of the time I do feel overworked and even overwhelmed at times. I'm already releasing a weekly Attack on Titan video, sometimes even 2 or 3. The one thing I do want to remind you watching and emphasize is that this is actually not an Attack on Titan channel, it's an anime channel overall. Besides my weekly Attack on Titan content, I do put out other anime related videos, so I definitely encourage you guys to check those out. For example, my recent video going over every summer anime, which by the way, any and all money that came from that is actually going towards Kyoto Animation. I'm sure you're aware about the whole recent tragedy that took place for that, which is why I made that video dedicated towards that cause. And then a quick thing about sponsors. So I recently had a sponsorship with the past video. Keep in mind you have to go through so much time and effort to actually get one of these sponsorships. And I'm actually pretty selective as to who I work with. Keep in mind working with sponsors is pretty much necessary if you're doing this full time, which I am right now. If I actually put together all the videos I release in 1 month, it may not even equal to what a sponsor provides. And no, that's not showing that a sponsor pays a lot. It actually shows how little freaking YouTube pays. That's largely due to stuff like the adpocalypse, videos getting demonetized, which is so common for anime content, especially Attack on Titan stuff. A few of my videos actually got demonetized just by showing that Eren manga of Gabby shooting his head off. Also sometimes just showing things like blaze, guns, blood. That pretty much kills anything I would be making from those videos. Keep in mind earlier I did move into doing this whole YouTube thing full time, which a lot of you don't know, but it did come at a high cost. Pretty much my monthly salary went to like 1/3 of what it once was, which again is why sponsors are so important. So if you do want to support the channel and do see a sponsor, really check their link out. I mean, I wasn't joking, I'm still playing the Raid Shadow Legends game. Or consider becoming a Patreon supporter. We got so many pretty awesome people on Discord, plus we have the monthly live stream. Those are pretty fun too. Anyway, if you do want to become a Patreon supporter, definitely check the link down below, and let's get on with Patreon questions. First Patreon question from Brocky. Welcome, new Patreon supporter. Now that it's confirmed that Eren is not going through Zeke's plan, what exactly is Eren's end goal now? Would it be possible for Eren to unite all humanity with the past instead of just Eldians? So let me actually answer the last part first. I think right now there's still too many mysteries about how this whole Titan powers got established, but it would be interesting if Eren would be able to unite everyone. Perhaps once upon a time that could have been one possible outcome for Attack on Titan. Just make everyone be able to go into Titan mode. Although now that Isayama has showed us the final panel, I don't think it's going that direction. For now, it seems like Eren's plan is what we originally thought. The guy wants to remove all Titan powers from the Earth. That would be the end goal. Next question from Osama, and welcome, another new Patreon supporter. Do the last panels prove the possibility of time travel, and now that we changed the past? So you all know how I feel about the whole time travel situation. Hopefully that does not happen. If it does, Isayama, you better flesh this out a lot. That would be a challenge on its own. But hey, Madoka did it, why not Attack on Titan too? That said, it really doesn't rule out the whole time travel possibility either. Right now, I'm leaning towards it being 70% past memories, maybe 20% chance that they're actually in the past, and this other 10% other situation. Next question up from Infamous Chi. Do you think one of the memories shown will be of Eren ex Historia confirming if he is the Papa? So let me just be completely honest with this one. I'm getting tired of the whole who is a father situation. Come on Isayama, just show us the baby daddy, confirm it. Not too long ago, it got confirmed that Eren has the Warhammer Titan powers. Just recently, it got confirmed that, as we thought, Eren wasn't going with the whole Jaeger plan. Now, it would actually be the perfect time, maybe in the next chapter or the chapter after that. Just show it already, Isayama, and be ready for the angry Mikasa shippers. Next question from T. At the end of the chapter, did Eren take control of his father's memories? So this actually goes back to that whole situation I talked about. Did Eren take control? Is it possible for Zeke to take control back? With this question, let me actually add a different analysis, which is really, how about if Eren just took control of the situation, not necessarily the memories? Perhaps we'll see next chapter Zeke comes along to Eren's side of things. That would be interesting. Next question from the Mentor. Does this confirm the soil Ymir used was the source of all organic life? Like Kruger mentioned, and the paths act like a tree coming from that soil. To be honest, I really don't think it confirms it one way or another. Right now you have three possibilities, it being a devil, it being some divine power, or it just being this almost random organic life type of thing. I would actually go back to what Kruger said. It could be any one of those depending on how you're looking at it. Hey, if it benefited you, like the Eldians, it was something divine. If the Titan powers were used to oppress you, oh, it's powers from the devil. And then you have this third, almost neutral-ish option. At this point, I'm kind of hoping that Isayama doesn't actually confirm it one way or another. Just leave it up to the viewers to interpret. Next question from Doom Cookies. Zeke has control of the Founding Titan's power, but Eren seems rather calm, like he thinks he can convince Zeke to join him through showing him memories. Do you think that means we are going to see Zeke going through some sort of redemption in the future? Or will Eren have to figure out a way to take control of the Founding Titan? So about the whole Zeke needing redemption part, let me ask you guys, do you think Zeke needs some redemption? I know there's some hardcore Zeke fans and then some hardcore Eren fans. In other words, it really didn't matter how many people they killed or what their ultimately endgame was. They would have always been on his side, so redemption wouldn't be needed. Since you bring up the whole topic about Zeke possibly getting redemption, I'm gonna assume that you're not a fan of his actions. Right now, I don't necessarily think that Isayama needs to show us some Zeke redemption, although it would be nice for him to flesh out Zeke some more, especially if the guy's gonna die or ultimately gonna have a change of heart. Next up, your Twitter questions. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter for a chance for me to answer your question. Or if you want a guaranteed question, definitely become a Patreon supporter, link down below. First Twitter question from Angel. How long do you think Zeke has been in that Titan realm? Since he recovered from the Thunder Spear, or maybe before that? So with this question, you're actually bringing up time for the outside and actually the Titan realm. For the outside, it could have been only like 5 or 10 minutes. Really any amount of time for that Titan to put Zeke inside of its stomach. Then in the actual Titan realm, really as long as Ymir-chan needed. I mean, how long does it take to make a Titan body? I would imagine that constructing a human body would be much quicker. So, some child labor right there. Maybe a day or two? Next question from Liam. What do you think the Titan realm is going to sound like in the anime in terms of ambience? So I'm trying to picture it. I don't think it's going to be something airy. If anything, it'll be something very, very subtle. Perhaps just hearing some wind in the background. Is there even wind in this place? Next question from Billy Smith. Do you think Eren and Zeke will continue their plan to release the Wall of Titans? To be completely honest, at this point it seems like the whole Colossal Titan plan has been put on hold or pause for now. I still want to see it happen somehow, but for that to happen, it seems like Zeke will have to be the one to come out of the Titan realm as the victor. Does anyone think that if Eren comes out, will he still use the Colossal Titan powers? Maybe. Next question from Cannot Be Black. Do you think Levi's gonna get some of that sand Ymir uses slapped on his hands body down the road? So technically now you do have a way for Levi to fully recover, or another way. You still might want to try to inject Levi with a Titan injection. So just assuming for a second it would be possible for Levi to recover using Ymir-chan, I kinda hope it doesn't happen, especially if Eren would be the one doing it. It actually makes me think back to a lot of shonen anime, maybe like Boruto's dad at the very end, where you have the main character getting super overpowered and just regenerating limbs and eyes for people. As much as I do love Levi, I would hope that doesn't happen for this series. I mean, let's just say that did happen. What would be the whole point of Levi getting blown up? I mean, at that point, it would have just been Isayama's cheap tactic to get Levi out of the story for a while. Next question from VSXZO. Do you think Annie will return soon? So just a few videos ago, I actually did the whole calculation about how Annie could not realistically return, or at least not enter this current Titan battle. However, now we actually have the Titan realm. I really don't think it would be too crazy to actually see Annie appear somewhere inside of here. The question then becomes, why would Annie appear in this situation? I mean, Annie hasn't been relevant for quite a while. Next question from Rush. Hey Foxen, do you think Zeke actually cares about Eren? Or does he just feel bad for Eren because of Grisha and the whole brainwashing thing? At least from what we've seen from Zeke and how he's acting so far, it seems like it could be a little of both. He feels Eren has been brainwashed, and maybe because of that he actually cares about Eren. Eren right now also happens to be one of the few people that does understand Zeke's position. Next question from Lewis. Do you think Eren will try to set Ymir free if possible? He's always talking about freedom. So right now Ymir-chan is supposedly a slave to this whole Titan realm. At least right now it does seem like that's now part of Eren's endgame. Next question from Mimic. Do you think in the end, Eren will somehow be able to end the 13-year curse, so he and Armin can survive? Even though I think Eren should die in this arc, since it would make the ending that much more impactful. So there still is this whole mystery regarding that 13-year curse. Is it actually a curse? Now that we're actually in this Titan realm, Isayama could drop more information regarding that. The thing is, about the 13-year curse, Isayama has been hammering down how these two characters are gonna die. If this whole curse is magically just gone by the end of the series, it would have felt like there was almost no actual risk involved or consequences, at least not for gaining the Titan Shifter powers. The one outcome I can see happening is Eren sacrificing himself to remove the curse and thereby saving Zeke and Armin. Next question from Shino. If Zeke and Eren are in the Titan realm in the limbo state, does this mean real time is also frozen? Does Eren die when he's out of this state? So right now they're definitely in this realm separated from the real human world. By that reasoning, technically everything on the outside would be quote unquote frozen. And then going back to the whole is Eren actually dead, you still have all of these possibilities. Perhaps Ymir-chan could fix him. Perhaps Eren could go Titan mode. Since technically Eren would still have to be alive at this point. Could Eren just send his memories into the past and perhaps prevent this whole situation from happening? In other words, there's so many possibilities. Next question from Andrew. What are your thoughts about Armin transforming to prevent the rumbling? Since I can't imagine him transforming for another purpose. So for this question, if you mean Armin preventing the rumbling via a nuke, that would mean the guy would have to nuke the Jaeger brothers. Would Armin actually want that to happen? I get a feeling Armin would hesitate even if he goes through with it, and then the Jaeger brothers would get away. Next question from Mr. Pioneer. How do you think Zeke's story will end at this point? So for the longest time, we actually thought that Zeke was going to end up dying sooner or later. But now, ever since the latest chapter, I'm really buying my own theory that perhaps Eren's gonna sacrifice himself and thereby save Zeke in the process. In other words, you're not gonna get that ending for Zeke that a lot of people want. In other words, for this guy to freaking die, especially after killing all those scouts, including Erwin, and then most recently what he did to Levi. Next question from Principe. There was some rumor about Grisha hiring some thugs to kill Mikasa's parents. Do you think it could possibly come true? I actually saw that rumor circling around before the whole leaks came out. And let me just be honest, ever since finding out that Grisha knew the name about Mikasa and Armin, I actually considered that at one point. Perhaps not to the extent that Grisha necessarily killed Mikasa's parents, but one, Grisha would have known about the importance of the Ackerman. In other words, let me get very close to this particular family. And hey, let me also introduce Eren to her, which was actually what he was doing in the first place. But if you're actually asking about whether Grisha actually killed Mikasa's parents, I mean, you did have Grisha up until the very last moments hesitating to kill the Ray's family. I don't think that's someone that could have hired someone to kill Mikasa's parents. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you made it to the end, definitely post down below. Or just say hi. If you're looking for more juicy videos to watch, definitely check out my summer anime video going over every anime. That took a long ass time to do. And definitely check out my recent video on the Warhammer Titan. How much do you actually know about this overpowered Titan? Enjoy, and I'll see you guys later.